Let's hop back in the 10-minute pool. I'm hoping to play an instructive game going up against Mr. Me Too, who seems to be doing, this is one of his best categories. So he's very good at rapid chess. And let's try to make it instructive, but let's also try to play some interesting openings. So I'm going to be playing here. F4 is another fun gambit way to play. But I'm hoping to get like a Nakhmanson or an Urasov, these kinds of things. So we could get a Nakhmanson. I will castle. And if you take here now, I'll play knight to c3. Let's go! How does the Nakhmanson fare in rapid chess? Okay, knight to d6. This was one of the original ways proposed. Like an original refutation of the opening. This is how it... Some people immediately concluded this was the way. Now, there's a line that goes like this. And the problem with this line is I never know. Should I go for the amazing super trap line? Or just play like the better than most humans have ever played this before line? We're going to have to decide. I'm going to get one of these pawns back. And then there's a big decision from White's point of view as to where to put this bishop. And then there's also a small decision from Black's point of view after taking is do you start with c6 or d6? There's a couple of little sidelines here, neatly outlined in my Chessable course. Should probably, I feel like I don't do a good enough job plugging the Chessable course, but it's a very good course, I think. Because now, the deal is, I believe that we do want to take this guy. And then the computer comes up with some very interesting ideas. There's always ideas of, like, at some point, b4 and just breaking the structure. There's also some idea for White of bringing the bishop here, which actually ends up being a pretty menacing diagonal. You can imagine, you can imagine a bishop and a queen lined up here. I'm going to get my rooks to the e-file, presumably before the opponent, especially with it here, because this doesn't stop me from bringing a rook to the e-file. There's also some idea of playing here, which sometimes could theoretically win immediately. Also, this sometimes wins immediately because people don't see that there's this additional threat. But there's some hidden idea that I guess I won't reveal. But it has to do with a later. If you can get a rook up to like e3 and your bishop's on f4, you have some idea of playing bishop to h6 because if you take, they get checkmated. So, I mean, I don't know, but I think this is the better way to play. It's a rapid game. I guess we should try this. And I feel like a lot of the times, like this is still prep. This is still theory. A lot of times people just fall for this kind of first trick. It's not really a trick. It's like I made a direct threat, but a lot of the times they don't see it. They play d5, and then they just run in to like bishop b4, and they lose an exchange. But the opponent is taking some time. So we'll see what they come up with, because I don't think it's easy. And I'm going to be putting this guy here for lots of pressure. I'm going to be first to the e-file, and there's some random ideas of attacking and just trying to open up files. I'm sure if you ask a computer, it finds some way that Black is like very slightly better, but it's kind of nuanced and it feels unlikely to actually happen. But I assume Black's a little bit better. They're up a pawn. I suppose they should move their rook anyway. Feels like a sensible enough thing to do. Get out of the way of this. And then I probably play bishop to c3. This is where I'm going to have to start thinking. I only vaguely remember plans from here. So it'll be good to test myself and to do it in a rapid game where opponents are going to be thinking a lot. I think will be hopefully instructive to me. I'm here to learn just with everybody else, you know? Opponent taking a deep think. If rook to e8, my first assumption is to go here, because then I think I'm forcing him to play f6, and maybe he watches a lot of Ben Feingold and he won't want to do it. The alternative would be to go here with one of these rooks first. Let's imagine this guy. He'll go to some square. Well, if you go to that square I got here, we would actually want to start with this rook maybe, just in case he blunders. The alternative, that would mean that the other alternative is that he would have to go here. Wait, if I go here and he goes here, yeah, I don't know. I would probably in any case... Wait, even if... Okay, let's say this plays out this way. I'm assuming in any case, even if he trades off rooks. I don't know why I'm calculating the bad line. I would always be able to install this bishop on d6, which I think would be huge. Why can't I go here first? Wait, do I remember? Why can't I just install this bishop on d6? I feel like it's not the way. I also could provoke f6 and then put my bishop here. I don't know, maybe, is this some move that prevents me? Because takes, he's quicker to come in. That could be it. I should start with some rook move. I'm going to start with this. Maybe I should have started, no. I should have started with bishop to c3, maybe just at least forcing f6 and then deciding. I'm assuming. I think it's worth provoking f6. And just no matter what happens. But now if I ever try to go here, there's going to be d5. So this idea doesn't make as much sense. If here, I'm curious about h4, h5, h6. Doesn't feel like the idea. He wants to go here, put the bishop out somewhere. I've taken this square away, so he's going to try to get his bishop here. I can go in right now with the queen, which maybe is an interesting idea. Right? That could be an interesting idea. Just to not let him play d5, not to let him get this bishop out. And maybe we'll get some, just some position where it's very difficult for him to get everything out. And I also have the idea of taking and then bringing my other rook in, and rook's coming all the way away. This could be insanely dangerous. Okay, he's defending this square, which is very nice for him. So I think h4, h5, h6 is probably my method here. I'm trying to wonder if I should have done this in the previous position just to have had my pieces out. But I want to soften this square. And at some point I can always trade, and no matter what he takes back with, bring a rook here because it's defended by my bishop. So we'll see. He's got to play some defense here. I think for a pawn, I'm having a good time. It should be a lot easier. Now, if I start playing really fast, it should be harder for him to play. Okay, guy comes out somewhere. I don't think it's going to be easy to stop it. I'm going to keep pushing as far as I can. He's going to actually be able to connect everything. When this bishop moves, I guess the way to try to stop it would be to trade and then either check the king away, but then at some point put rooks here, tying down the queen to the defense of this pawn. But this should, I think, also be very good. Because I would like now to take this rook and then immediately play here, I think. But the idea of bringing a rook in to pin everything to this also makes a lot of sense to me. The bishop comes in. I take. What is he going to take with? If I go here, I think he's going to swap and then play here. Is that a big deal or not? Like, should I swap first? I think I do. Because I expect queen takes. Then I'm going to go here, undermining this guy. But I also have some ideas of going here. Either there's a rook coming in, but I don't know. The rook comes in. My queen is going to sneak in at some moment. If I go here. But there is this. Do I care? I can just move. Keep an eye on this guy. Keep this guy pinned. Should I don't know. It's probably a reasonable idea to get the rook into the game. Let's start with this. The queen can go back now, defending this pawn, preventing my queen from coming in. When I hit here, maybe you can play g6, and I'm not quite crashing through so easily. But if your bishop ever moved away somewhere, I don't know. There'd be some, like, I can attack... Or if your rook moved away, I'd be able to, like, attack this bishop and try to get behind here. Huh. There's always tactics like this. Does that lead anywhere? Another idea would be to try to use this rook more actively. I'm expecting g6, because it seems, like, unavoidable. There would also be g4, g5, but I feel like that's necessarily weakening. I think if g6, I'm going to bring my rook. Yeah. But I'm looking at this idea, because the king has to go to the back rank, right? Don't know. It would be stronger with this. After g6, rook here, I actually am threatening to take this. Oh, wow. That was unexpected. Still want to do this. I need to recalibrate because a move I didn't expect happened. Okay. He took my pawn. That's crazy. I can't believe he took... I didn't even consider it. I didn't think for 1 second he would take my pawn. If I go here, I don't think you can defend this guy. And now your king is wide open. I feel like I'm winning. This kind of panned out really well. But again, this knight d6 stuff, it was meant to be like one of the earliest refutations of the Nakhmanson, but now you don't really see it too much. I think there's other ways that Black has come up with to try to fight against the Nakhmanson. The primary one being to take with a knight. But this is some line. d5, it's also another way to combat things. So if I go here, you want this. Does make sense. Good move, a good move, a good move. But after this, I can attack with my queen by going here. Okay, I think this totally works. You're gonna block this way. But then one of these queen moves will attack you again. Or, I mean, honestly, I can just take, right? I mean, just taking is probably fine. It's not consistent with my just no-taking philosophy I've been kind of employing. I mean, queen d4 seems so strong. How easy is it to win if I take material there? It might not be that easy. Also here, honestly, here could also be interesting. Because, like, if you attacked me or something, you'd be undefending the bishop. Also, I have access to the h5 square, if that proves to be useful for some reason. So I don't think it's possible for him to defend his f-pawn, so I'm going to take that next. I'm trying to keep all of the pieces on the board because checkmate is really looming. As soon as we take this, and the plan right now is to take it with a rook. I mean, he's in trouble. You can try to run away. But it's just too much. He never got the rook into the game. He never could move this d-pawn. He has now abandoned the game in despair. He doesn't want to play anymore. All right, he's back. Uh-huh. Okay, so rook takes. Let's calculate. He's going to go here. And then I'm going to take this and win. End of calculation. No matter where the rook goes on the e-file, I can take the bishop and then take this queen. You know, even if here he takes with the pawn, I take this. And that's the end. I'm not going to come up with a cleaner way. This is the easiest way to mop it up. This should be resigns. And I do want to actually do a little bit of an analysis because this actually was a pretty critical line that we were debating. So thank you to my opponent for giving me the opportunity to test this out in a rapid game. Excuse me, computer. Don't freeze now. Let's take a real quick peek because I want to see this exact line. You can see the computer gives a slight advantage to black. And we played the main line, which is to take, here. And then even this, I mean, C6 is the most common move, but maybe is actually an inaccuracy at least. Because it's 58% of the time, people are going to play here. You should start with D6 and try to get the bishop out right away. But if you can get to here, the primary move is bishop to d2. There is this trick. Let's see if I can get it to work somehow. Like somehow, I don't know how. You need to set it up in like a variety of ways. Let's make like some bad moves or something. At some point, there are ideas of going here. I guess here there's f6. It might be better under other circumstances. But even this is like a little bit of a trick. But the idea is that if you can take, there's some major issues. You can block with a queen and whatever. But there's like some sort of little tricks involved with putting your bishop on f4. This, I think, is the better way to do it. And here my opponent messed up. D6 is possible. D5, the most played move, is actually a very large mistake. So this is something that you'll see quite frequently. This is another mistake. C5, which I think is really hard for an opponent to play, is one of the best moves. D6 looks a little bit more human. But you always have a ton of compensation. You're first to the e-file, and you're able to make these unopposed threats. It's opposite colored bishops. So that actually means... Yeah, I noticed here, too. I probably should have swapped and then brought this guy in, but it worked out really well in the game. Provoking f6 coming in here. The opposite colored bishops, it means it actually is in favor of the attacker. So, yeah. I mean, even here, okay, you probably should do something to prevent it. Maybe there were some inaccuracies even here. It's worth pointing out. I really should trade here first. Maybe bring the other rook into the game. And interesting is queen d1. Queen d1, it says king f8. Queen h5. Some weird computer moves, and then it gives up the pawn. So there was some other like weird stuff here. But I still think it was a pretty interesting overall game. What actually ended up happening was I got this guy all the way up. And then he took it, which is just wrong, and this guy became a target. Still queen d1, which is interesting. I always had the idea of getting my queen here, but not by going all the way back to d1. This turns out to be a really strong idea. Queen to e5 is best. Computer likes it because I have this idea. And then we simply win material. I have a stronger way of doing it. Everybody's going to roast me in the comments, but go ahead, because I was able to at least win the game. And I hope you like that. That's something you can do against the Nakhmanson. Subscribe.